everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your instructor, Dominique McGee. I am so excited about the introduction to self care. You know, I don't like to waste time, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, today, the topic is self care. What is it? Do I even need it? Is it something that I should look into? And before we even get into it, I would like to tell you that self care is more than just burning candles and taking a long bath. It is paying attention and being active in your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health and well being. It is getting back to self, doing what you love to do, and incorporating it in your day to day life. See, there are many different levels of self care, personal care, and self love. And we'll get into that throughout this course. But today, I would like to discuss self care. And you know, I have taken some notes, so don't forget to take your pen and pad out so you can take notes as well. So, when we often first hear about self care, it is mostly always in a healthcare setting when you are visiting a hospital or a doctor for whatever emergency situation or health situation. They give you a booklet or a couple of pieces of paper before you leave to break down why you visited and everything about what they learned after the test was ran. So they might give you some medication and say, hey, take some of these, get you fulfill your prescription, and then call your doctor. But also go home, relax, don't stress out, take some time off from work, whatever the case may be. But they're giving you some basic self-care instructions when you leave their care. And then they also tell you when you're done, follow up with your primary health provider to see if you need any more assistance or care. But what if I told you that self-care goes beyond just the healthcare setting? Self-care is something that we all should be interested in and active in because self-care keeps us grounded. It's about taking care of ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Pay attention to the warning signs that, hey, I'm about to be overwhelmed. I am very distressed. I am in a overwhelming, stressful situation. And it's about to be a cold red in here. I'm about to snap. I'm about to lose my mind. It's about to go left. And it's like, whoa, how did I get to this point? Sometimes the world, our family, our friends, just so much demand from us on our lives, on our time. It's just so much taking. And we spend so much time pouring into others that we neglect our own selves, pouring into what we like, pouring into our own talents, pouring into our abilities, pouring into our well-being, pouring into our spiritual well-being, our mental health, our physical well-being. Because mostly we get caught up into pouring into everyone else, and it becomes a problem. So I want to talk about first, self-care refers to maybe some activities that preserve and maintain us physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And these are the things that ground us. These are the things where we step back from others. Whoa, this is a little bit too much. I didn't sign up for this. It's giving overwhelming. It's giving stressed out. It's giving in the way. So sometimes you have to take the time to step back from people, step back from situations, step back from circumstances, and get a clear picture. How did I get this far? What is going on within me? And when we are in tune with ourselves and actually practicing self-care, we can identify the warning signs that are going off within us. physically and our emotional state, how we are upset and how we are easily unmotivated or undriven. These are things that are messing with us in our own development, if that makes sense. But what I'm saying is, by paying attention to oneself, that goes beyond burning candles and sitting in a bath, we can understand where we are not taking care of ourselves, where are areas of improvement, and we can understand the areas where we're good. So by sitting down and being real with ourselves and saying, hey, let's do an assessment. Am I truly taking care of myself to the best of my ability? Am I doing what I need to be doing to operate as my best self? If not, wait, let me take a break. Let me pause from all activity, because even our jobs can be so demanding and require us to behave and conduct ourselves in ways that bother us. A lot of us go into certain industries of employment, believing in them, believing that they contribute to some part of meaning in our life. But when we come against challenges that speak differently, in our place of employment begins to shift, and they begin to motivate us to operate differently outside of our own values. Or if we're trying to go up for promotions and it's like, why am I not getting it? And it's like you're challenging your own values, your own beliefs about yourself. And it makes it hard to believe in yourself. And it makes it hard for you to believe in why you took part into this employment, why you believed so much into it. Yeah, it can take a lot out of you. Your family, the world itself. A lot of these things can keep you from doing what you love, believing in yourself, taking care of yourself to the highest degree. Your mental health matters to the highest degree. Your emotional health matters, your physical health, and so forth, your spiritual health. All of these things truly matter. And it's time to sit back and say, well, where am I neglecting myself? So let's get into it. But before I go any further, let me stop and say this. I had to just look down at my nose and I was like, bing, bing, bing. Yep, it is a red flag. But this is not the red flag. This is the caution flag here. Let me give it to you. Self-care, by no means, is not an emergency response plan to be activated when we're super stressed out, when we're super overwhelmed. No, our self-care plan should already be implemented in our life to keep us from becoming overstressed, overexhausted, overexerted. Your self-care plan should be a part of your day-to-day routine, or week-to-week routine, or month-to-month routine. It depends where you are. Because if you don't understand that you have to step back from everything and everybody and focus on self, then I want to speak to you about how you are handling the world. Because even me, I have to step back from everything and everybody and calm down, center myself, and get into the things that I like, that bring me joy, that bring me happiness. I have to work my talents and my abilities and go after them. And then I get back to work. But I take the time to evaluate self. I'm a very spiritual person. So when I feel myself begin to feel very spiritually trapped or attacked, that's when I step back and I start to get into my spiritual elements. I start to spend time in my spiritual element, in my values and in my morals, and spending time in uplifting and building my spirits for the battles to come, for the ones that are perceived and the battles that are not perceived. But once I feel an uproar in my spirit, I begin to say, okay, this is a spiritual thing. Let me go talk to God. And I try to stay motivated on a day-to-day basis on a spiritual level. Sorry, guys. Let me turn that on Do Not Disturb. On a spiritual level, that I don't want to run to my spiritual comfort zone only when things are going wrong. But I want to have enough spiritual strength that when things start going left, I'm already on the level of expectation and know where I stand in this battle. So I know I had to incorporate my spiritual time on a day-to-day basis. So before I start my day engaging with other people, I start my day engaging before my Father God in my word, meditating on the word in prayer and praise. And then I get up and I have a spiritual strength. Now, let's get into the physical. Sometimes we feel broken down. We feel beat. We feel drained, just out of order. Like our body has the out of order sign on it. Attention, energy level low. Yeah, that type of thing. A significant damage done. Yes, if we are not in tune with ourselves, we will run into a damaging place, overexerting ourselves, breaking ourselves down in an unhealthy manner. So listening to our body and giving it the proper rest and care that it needs matters. Pay attention to your physical desires. Do you want to eat healthier? Do you want to be healthier physically? You would have to incorporate self-care on a physical level on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, depending on how committed you are. Mental health. Let's get there. Emotional and mental health. Understanding our emotions and what triggers us. Understanding means being on top of your emotional state on a day-to-day basis, not letting outside forces or outside sources or forces impose on your well-being when it comes to emotionally. Change your mood, change your health, change how your outlook. You're angry, you're enraged. Now you're feeling some type of way physically because it's an emotional problem. Because you are not emotionally prepared for what you are about to go through. Do an emotional evaluation always. I would like to do one every month where I'm like, okay, mental check. Am I all right? Am I lying to myself, telling myself I'm okay? Or am I actually okay? Do I need to back up? Do I just need to give myself a mental break? Am I exhausted? And if I am, what can I do to calm me down and energize me? These are the things when I'm speaking on for self-care. Mentally bogged down, just too much going on, just all over the place. Sometimes we need silence. Sometimes we really just need the time to get back to self. And getting back to self means taking care of self to the highest degree. Now, like I said, self-care is not an emergency response plan. Meaning you don't just jump into your self-care activities when you are in a all system overload situation or when you are in a fully stressed situation. No. You have to be already practicing self-care on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, however you want to dedicate yourself to it. Okay, it is an intentional way of living by our values, attitude, and actions, and integrating them into our day-to-day routines. So I'm not telling you that you have to go crazy and add all of these new techniques and do new behaviors to your day-to-day life. No, I'm telling you to do a healthy evaluation of self. Look at what needs to go and how you can take better care of yourself. When you evaluate that, you can replace other habits with positive new habits and incorporate them into your day-to-day or weekly life until they become a positive habit of part of your life. Now, self-care is not a one cookie cutter service. Okay, it looks different for everybody based off of how your needs, where you're the area of where you're struggling at. It's not the same for everybody, and every technique will not work for everybody. So, getting to know yourself and getting a better understanding of your mental, emotional, physical well being needs and how you can push forward in caring for yourself in a practical, logical way. Okay, self-care is different for everyone. It is not just a reaction to stress. It's about getting back to what you love and what makes you happy. Sometimes, like I said, in a sense that it is what it's about because we get caught up in what the demands of everyone else and the demands of the world and the pressures, and we tend to close out ourselves. And we tend to neglect ourselves in the name of doing good for everyone else, in the name of putting everyone else before us. And I want to tell you that that is not a healthy decision. Taking care of self opens up the door for you to better take care of others. So let's get into our last bit of notes before we get out of here. I look forward to working with you all on our self-care planning worksheets. And as we get into the benefits of self-care, and we'll go over some techniques and strategies for self-care as well. But once again, like I said, it is not a cookie cutter, all one size fits all type of thing. So as we go over some techniques and some strategies, just see what best fits you. And when you discover which best fits you, then we will work on it and take off from there. I'm so excited that you all started your personal growth journey. So let's get into these last bit points before we go. You ready? So there is no specific time frame or frequency for you to practice self-care. You can do it whenever, however. But it is extremely important that you actually do incorporate some type of practice of self-care into your day-to-day life, weekly or monthly, however you see fit and however it seems right for you. Don't allow me to tell you because I can't tell you, do this. No, I can just lead you to the water and help you, walk alongside of you and say, hey, if you want to try that one, let's try that one. But let's go into it. How you can incorporate self-care into your week or day, like I said. Stop and evaluate what you have going on. Stop and look a lot at the areas that needs improvements and the things that need to change. And once you have this down, then you can see where you can replace bad habits with positive habits, or you can incorporate your care in areas that you know that you need it the most. And bringing it all together for a positive well-being. And that's what self-care is. Making sure that you are overall in a good, positive space. Continuously. And in this day and time and in this world, we all should be on the first train to self-care and making sure we are all okay. Because in 2023, we don't know what's really going on or how it's going to happen. So let's continue to drive and push forward and working on ourselves. Look forward to talking to you again. And once again, I am your instructor, Dominique McGee, and welcome to Personal Growth Class. See you next time.